Clicking through stories you wouldn't believe. Cold case trails and courtroom scenes. Whispers from the grave and media dreams. Truth is stranger, hearts beat faster. In the shadows of a news disaster. Scrolling deep where secrets hide. You found the stories time won't deny. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods clubs to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Small town rumors and urban fear, a voice for the lost who can't speak here. Through every name, through every case, you hold the truth in a steady place. Cameras roll but justice lingers. Truth unravels through careful fingers. You tell a story and speak their names in a world that's quick to look away. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods crimes to great night trials, you trace the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Some run from the dark, you walk right in with a question and a camera lens. It's not just a crime, it's the lives they led. The voice is still talking from the books unread. Headstones and headlines, the veil is thin. Truth gets louder when you begin. With every view, with every line, you bring the forgotten back to life. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Yeah, headstones and headlines, you tell the stories that time can't hide.
Hey everyone, happy Friday, and happy Friday the 13th if you believe in that superstitious stuff. Hope everyone had a good day. I actually was home today because I am not feeling that great. I came home yesterday, excuse me, with a migraine, and I was going to try to go into work today, and I just, I couldn't do it. So I'm going to try to, one second. I'm going to try, I had to clear my throat. Reminds me of the song by DJ Cool, Let Me Clear My Throat. I am going to get through this live because there's so many things I want to talk about, and I had put the poll on my community page about would you rather talk about Nancy Guthrie, which there's not a whole lot happening in. I know that they're allegedly they've been able to determine that the backpack was bought from Walmart. There's another video that had been released, or I guess I wouldn't say released, but had been found, which I did upload a short, so definitely check that out. But not a whole lot going on. So I was like, you know what? This is a pretty big deal, this social media addiction trial. It is the first of its kind. It is one of hundreds of lawsuits that are going to be happening in the future. And I have my thoughts. I guess at the end of this, we'll see what we think. So I did put the poll question today. Do you believe social media causes children to become addicted? Because I'm torn. And I've watched much of what we're going to watch today, so I have a little bit more understanding about what the trial is about. The one thing that I did find interesting, though, is that Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, and Meta were all, oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought. My brain is not working. Were all named in the lawsuit. TikTok and Snapchat settled before the trial started. What they settled for is unknown, but it appears that they believe that there may be some, God, I'm really losing my words today. Jesus. Oh my God. My brain is not working. I can't think of the word. Oh my God, I feel like an idiot. There was some support, I guess. Like the lawsuit may not go in their favor. There's a word I'm looking for, but my brain is just not finding it right now. Nanny says a lot of people use it to babysit their kids. Yeah, they do. And I did see Nanny here. Doodles, thanks for being here. Anybody in the bushes. I do appreciate it. So we're going to get started because clearly I am tripping over my words, and it seems that when I read things, I speak better. So let's do that. So this came about around October-ish of last year. And I was going to go all the way back to when it first started, but then I was like, that would take forever to go through everything. The trial started this past Tuesday, which was the 10th. The 10th. It's expected to last a few weeks. I was hoping that this would be televised. Unfortunately, it is not being televised because I would definitely have shown it. Okay, so let me get here. There we go. Hey, 428 growers, thanks for being here. Social media is a social contagion. A whole generation is lost as F. I agree. And I wanted to do another live on how social media and technology alone is affecting children's brains, which that might be a good thing to do next week since I don't work. I'll have more time to look into it more and see, like, is there clinical proof? Because that is what Instagram is arguing, that you cannot clinically prove that social media causes addiction. And as I said, I am torn because there are things that parents can do to limit their child's social media activity. My sister has granted, all right, let me play devil's advocate. Granted, possibly when this 19-year-old was 9 years old, 10 years ago, maybe there weren't parental locks. Maybe there weren't ways to shut your child's phone off without having their phone in your hand. But is it the parents' responsibility to prevent how much a 9-year-old is going on social media? I say yes. They're 9. Teenagers, I feel it's a bit more difficult to compromise. They're always on their phones. Always. 428 says it's been proven already it's dopamine addiction, just like drugs. And it kind of goes along with the book that I'm doing a book study at work about, and they call it doom scrolling, which I had never heard that term before. But that's what it is. It is doom scrolling. I'm guilty of it as well. I will just sit there and scroll. And if I don't like the video, I just keep swiping. And then if I see one I like, great. And then I'm like, oh, I really like this creator. Let me see what their other videos are. So then I click on their page, and then it's a huge rabbit hole. So I myself need to limit how much I'm on the internet. And I have controls on my phone that work sometimes. I have a thing that comes up now that says, time to take a break. Close your phone for 10 minutes. Do I do it? Sometimes. Do I usually just close out of it? Usually. So, yeah, no social media under 16. And that actually came up too in one of the questions they had asked today, is because, why would a 9-year-old be addicted when they shouldn't even be on social media? Dogs help. After 10 minutes, the dog starts pushing. Yeah. And usually, I mean, I'm not on social media a whole lot. I mean, I'm on YouTube. I way too much. But I just play games on my phone, which I guess is just as bad because you're just staring at a screen. And even that, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better. And it helps that my phone isn't working correctly, and I can only get internet access when I'm on Wi-Fi. For some reason, it will not connect to 5G. So that has also limited my internet usage because I can't use it unless I'm on Wi-Fi. Okay, and I apologize for keep clearing my throat. It's irritating, I know. So it says Meta and YouTube head to trial over harm to children after TikTok settles. And this was updated January 27th of this year. Social media apps have long been accused hang on a second, of being harmful to children. Now those claims will come before a jury for the first time in a trial kicking off Tuesday in an LA courtroom. A key question will be whether tech companies deliberately built their platforms to hook young users, contributing to a young mental health crisis. The jury's decision could have big consequences for the tech industry and how children use social media. And honestly, I'm surprised this is the first time something like this has gone to trial. I remember, when I was in high school, we didn't have a lot of technology. AOL Instant Messenger, actually, AOL wasn't even out yet. It was my first year of college. It was ICQ, if anybody remembers ICQ. And then we had like a local server at college where you could talk to people, on campus. And then AOL Instant Messenger really started to pick up its game after that. And then at this, now it's like, who would have thought? Who would have thought we would have all of this technology in social media? Not me. I was happy with my Nintendo. I was. Let's see. Let me go back to chat quick. Doodle says, when do parents' responsibility end and the company's responsibility begin? Take care of your kids yourself. Yeah, this topic is way overdue. And the one thing I have a hard time believing is that the tech companies deliberately built their platforms to hook young users. Did they build their platforms to hook users? Yes, because that's where the algorithm comes in. If I watch a video about cooking, then all of my videos are going to probably be related to cooking. At the same time, our phones are always listening to us. Always. I will be talking about something and then I go to a web page and oh look, there's what I was just talking about in an ad. it's bizarre. I did see, this is off topic a little bit, but it still goes with technology. I don't have cable, so I didn't watch the Super Bowl or the commercials, but apparently Ring had a commercial where it said it is now able to detect dogs. So if you have a lost dog, Ring cameras are able to pick up the movement of dogs. And people were all up in arms like, well, if it can identify dogs, is it going to be identifying people? Are they going to be using it to, find somebody? And I'm like, well, the government's already doing that. So I don't know why it's such a big deal that a security camera company may also be able to do that. But they're only talking about dogs, not people. And you can turn it off. But I thought that was interesting. Nanny says, grandson has a great group of friends that have great parents. They find things for them to do outside. And I think too, like, especially here, it's been so cold that it's hard to do things, like, I mean, today it was actually like 31 degrees. It was so nice. And this coming week is going to be even nicer, which hopefully I myself will get outside, because it's hard to find things to do when it's so cold out. You just kind of sit around. Doodle says, can they hook anyone if we choose not to participate? It's up to us. And that's where I think the jury is going to have to decide, because, and this is a 9-year-old, mind you, she is now 19, but the lawsuit says that because of social media, she suffered from body dysmorphia, anxiety, stress. I believe there was one other thing. And like you said, where is the line between what parents are responsible for and what the companies are responsible for? So it goes on to say, Meta, the owner of Instagram and Facebook and Google's YouTube, will stand trial in California state court after TikTok settled the lawsuit on the eve of the trial. Terms of the settlement were confidential, said Matthew Bergman of the Social Media Victims Law Center, who represents the plaintiff. TikTok didn't respond to a request for comment about the settlement on Tuesday. Snapchat was also named as a defendant in the lawsuit, but reached its own undisclosed settlement with the plaintiff last week. The LA case is the first of a wave of lawsuits headed for trial this year that have been brought against social media companies by more than 1,000 individual plaintiffs, hundreds of school districts, and dozens of state attorney generals. It's drawing comparisons to the legal campaign against big tobacco in the 1990s, which accused cigarette makers of covering up what they knew about the harms of their products. And I have never been a smoker, so I don't know what was advertised. I remember seeing in magazines the big advertisements for like Camel and Newport. It was everywhere. Did it make me want to smoke? No. Would it maybe make another child want to smoke? Maybe. But I can see, I don't think cigarettes had like a label of what the ingredients were. We didn't have social media back then to look up what ingredients are in, cigarettes. So that I can understand. Yeah, Nanny, that is for sure. Got to have vitamin D. And it's like that. What do they call it? Cabin fever. It's just, I don't know. It's just so depressing having to be inside all the time. I need to get out. Even if I need to go out to a store and just walk around, I have to get out of the house. The suits accuse Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Snapchat of engineering features that make their apps nearly impossible for kids to put down, like infinite scroll, autoplay videos, which you can turn off autoplay, frequent notifications, and recommendation algorithms, leading in some cases to depression, eating disorders, self-harm, and even suicide. Snapchat and TikTok remain defendants in the other lawsuits. And I know you can turn off autoplay for YouTube. I know TikTok, at least on my phone, TikTok, the video will play, but the sound doesn't work until I hit the volume up on my phone. It stays silent until I hit the volume button. So I don't know. I don't think you can shut TikTok off from autoplaying. Facebook you can. Instagram, I don't really go on Instagram very much. And when I used Instagram, it was just really pictures. It wasn't all this video stuff. So I can't really speak for that. Doodle says, I'm curious where her parents were for hours a day while she was spiraling. And mind you, this was from when she was 9, so 10 years. 10 years. And I'm curious, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if they would be able to, if the defense would be able to find how much time these young people actually spent online. I would assume they would be able to. And how do you prove that social media was the cause of, what did they say, depression, eating disorder, self-harm, and even suicide? How can they prove that it was social media and not other social factors like assholes in school? Because kids are really mean to each other. I don't know. It's interesting. The plaintiffs are seeking monetary damages as well as changes to the way social media apps are designed. The trial starting on Tuesday in LA will give a rare look inside how the most popular and powerful social media platforms operate. Jurors will be presented with thousands of pages of internal documents, including research on children conducted by the companies, expert witnesses, and the testimony of the teenage plaintiff identified as KGM, who says her excessive use of social media led to mental health problems. And when can we say you can put your phone down? It's hard, I know. I mean, even for state exams here in New York, they are lost without their phone. They keep looking for it. Some of them flat out refuse to give up their phones. And they need state exams to graduate high school. So, I mean, I can see how, saying just put it down is much different than actually being able to just put your phone down. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, are also set to take the stand in the trial, which is expected to last several weeks. The public is going to know for the first time what social media companies have done to prioritize their profits over the safety of our kids, said Bergman, who represents KGM and other plaintiffs. The tech companies argue that there's no clinical diagnosis of addiction to social media and that no direct link between using social media and mental health problems has been proved. They say they've rolled out safety features for kids in recent years, including parental controls, guardrails on who can contact teen accounts, and time limits. They also cite the First Amendment, saying that just as people's speech is protected from government censorship, the decisions that social media companies make about content are also a type of protected speech, an argument the Supreme Court has affirmed. Both Meta and YouTube parent Google said in statements that the allegations in the lawsuits are baseless. Quote, "These lawsuits misportray our company and the work we do every day to provide young people with safe, valuable experiences online," Meta said in a statement. Despite the snippets of conversations or cherry-picked quotes that plaintiffs' counsel may use to paint an intentionally misleading picture of the company, we're proud of the progress we've made. We stand by our record of putting teen safety first and will keep making improvements, end quote. The allegations in these complaints are simply not true, said Google spokesperson Jose Castañeda. He added that YouTube works with experts to provide age-appropriate experiences and robust parental controls. YouTube will also argue that its video platform works differently from apps such as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. TikTok declined to comment on its approach to the trial. Eric Goldman, a professor at Santa Clara University School of Law who studies internet law, is skeptical of the plaintiff's argument that the company should be held liable for the features they've designed. Essentially, what the plaintiffs are trying to do is argue that social media is the virtual equivalent to a soda bottle, like a Coca-Cola bottle, that explodes and sends shards of glass to anyone in the nearby area. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, it doesn't make any sense to me either. The entire premise of treating publications as products is itself architecturally flawed. It's a good analogy. The cases are on two tracks, some in state court and others in federal court, and each a handful of, quote, bellwether cases head to trial first. The outcome of those cases could affect how the rest play out and could open the door for wide-ranging settlement talks. Jury selection in the first bellwether case starts Tuesday in Los Angeles County Superior Court. The plaintiff, KGM, now 19 years old, says her use of Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok led to depression, anxiety, and body dysmorphia. KGM began using social media at age 10, despite her mother's efforts to block her from the apps, according to the complaint. Okay, so another source I had read said 9. This says 10. So she began using social media despite her mother's efforts to block her from the apps. I'd like to know how her mom attempted to block her from the apps. She, quote, developed a compulsion to engage with those products nonstop, end quote, as a result of their addictive design and constant notifications. You can turn your notifications off. I know, it's easier said than done. But I have my phone on silent all the time, unless I'm listening to something. The more KGM accessed defendants' products, the worse her mental health became. She is going to be able to explain in a very real sense what social media did to her over the course of her life and how, in so many ways, one second.
Here's your reminder.
Sorry, I forgot about Alexa. Let me start over. So she is going to be able to explain in a very real sense what social media did to her over the course of her life and how, in so many ways, it robbed her of her childhood and her adolescence, Bergman told reporters at a briefing last week. She is very typical of so many children in the United States, the harms that they've sustained and the way their lives have been altered by the deliberate decisions of the social media companies. And let me just look because, let's see, how old do you need to be to? Let's see, let me look up Instagram. Okay, so Instagram requires users to be at least 13 years old to create an account, although this minimum age may be higher in certain regions or countries. For users under 18, Instagram automatically sets new accounts to private and includes additional safety features such as restrictions on direct messaging from unknown adults. Key details regarding age on Instagram include, and this is present day. I'm not sure what it was back when she was 10. Users must provide their age upon sign up, and Instagram may use AI or require photo identification to verify ages. Parents can set up supervision tools for teens under 18 to manage time limits, view account settings, and monitor interactions. Accounts created by users under 13 that are not clearly managed by a parent or manager will be deleted. In certain areas, such as South Korea, Spain, and Quebec, the minimum age requirement may differ. For teens under 16, changing an account from private to public requires parental permission. So, I mean, that's present day. So that's Instagram. Let's see what TikTok says. TikTok. Okay, so TikTok, you have to be at least 13 years old to create and use a standard TikTok account. In the US, users under 13 are automatically directed to a restricted, read-only under 13 experience. And remember, this is present day. Not sure what it was. When did TikTok even come out? TikTok hasn't been around that long, has it? Let's see, how old is TikTok? 2016. Oh, wow. So 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago, this September. So that's interesting. And then YouTube, I feel like YouTube, no, how old do you need to be on YouTube? All right, so YouTube is 13 and older. For children under 13, YouTube offers a supervised experience with content settings managed by parents. Younger children should use the YouTube Kids app, which provides curated age-appropriate content. So 13 plus has full access, under 13 supervised experience, YouTube Kids ages 4 through 12. In Europe, 14 to 16 years is the minimum age. And then the other one was Facebook, and Facebook is probably 13. Yep, Facebook, same thing. You must be at least 13 years old to create a Facebook account. This age requirement is in place to comply with regulations like the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, and users under 13 are not permitted to have accounts. In some regions, such as South Korea, Spain, and Quebec, the minimum age is 14. Facebook may ask users to verify their age using photo identification or a video selfie. Accounts for users aged 13 to 17 automatically have more restrictive protective privacy settings. If a user is found to be under 13, their account can be deleted. Well, it should be deleted. Not can be, it should be. It is recommended to monitor younger users' online activity for safety. So it looks like 13 is the age. Hey, Patricia, thanks for being here. Doodle says, this is wild. There's something else going on, I think. At 9, and you can't make yourself stop scrolling. For teens, it's almost impossible to keep track if they are busy after school and sports. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like I said, like, I don't know, like 11, well, I don't even know 11. Like 13, 14, 15 and up, like, it may be hard to, you know, it would be a hard fight, I think, to get them off social media. But like my sister now has a thing where she can turn data off my niece's phone. So she cannot use it for the internet. And it makes me wonder, I don't know, this is a tough one. let's see. Last week, Snap, the parent company of Snapchat, settled with KGM, meaning it will not be involved in the first trial. No details about the settlement were publicly released. Still, the company remains a defendant in other cases in both the state and federal consolidated proceedings. The parties are pleased to have been able to resolve this matter in an amicable manner, Snap said in a statement. The company has previously disputed the allegations in the lawsuits. Snapchat was designed differently from traditional social media. It opens to the camera, allowing Snapchatters to connect with family and friends in an environment that prioritizes their safety and privacy, its lawyers told Bloomberg News in November. It has been an uphill battle for the plaintiffs to bring their claims at all because online platforms are broadly protected by a controversial legal shield known as Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996. The plaintiffs hope to get around the immunity usually afforded to tech companies by focusing on features they say are designed to keep kids coming back to social media apps rather than on the specific posts or videos that users encounter. We are not talking about third-party consent. We are talking about the reckless design of these platforms that are designed not to show kids what they want to see, but what they can't look away from, Bergman said. But how do you prove that? How do you prove that these tech companies designed their product to show kids what they want to see? Or, I'm sorry, to show kids what they can't look away from as opposed to what they want to see. Like, how do you decipher what any child can't look away from? I feel like it's subjective. LA Superior Court Judge Carolyn Kull, who is overseeing the consolidated state cases, including KGM's, has struck some plaintiffs' claims on the grounds that they were about third-party content and therefore covered by Section 230. But she said the question of whether features like infinite scrolling could contribute to harming users is something a jury should decide. Goldman, the Santa Clara University law professor, said the potential damages should the plaintiffs win pose, quote, an existential threat to the social media companies and beyond, not just in terms of financial impact, but also if tech companies were forced to change how their products work. The internet is on trial in these cases. If the plaintiffs win, the internet will almost certainly look different than it does today, and probably it will be a far less conversational one that we have today. I agree. This is a precedent case. This is a precedent case that will affect everyone, dependent on how it goes, what the jury decides. I did have an article about Snapchat meeting or settling before the trial, and I just wanted to look quick to see if there was anything different that I didn't just read. Okay, so the one thing that this article does say is that the cases are being closely watched because they are the first to argue a novel legal theory that the social media platforms are inherently defective and subject to personal injury liability. States and school districts also plan to argue that they have had to incur the costs of helping young users with mental health counseling and other services because of social media addiction. The companies have argued that there is no scientific link between social media use and addiction. They also plan to argue that the lawsuits violate speech protections for their platforms. All right.
Tech is now on trial in a landmark social media case. Instagram's parent company Meta and Google's YouTube.
Hey, Evil Queen. Let me get back to chat quick. I'm sure they did think tanks to develop subliminal information. Possibly. Jewel says, well, I guess they can prohibit anyone under a certain age from having an account. That is true. I mean, at this point, are they going to have to ban? I mean, technically, they're saying children. So are they going to have to raise the age to 18 when you're a legal adult? So no one under the age of 18 is allowed to have a social media account. And in order to do so, you must provide identification. That's what, you know what? Hold on a second. Ding, ding, ding. Is what, if, hold the phone. Is this why YouTube is now asking you to prove your age in order to watch certain videos? I just realized, because that just started not long ago. Because like on this account, I had to prove my age because I have a channel and I get paid. But like on my alt accounts, it won't let me watch age restricted videos unless I prove I'm 18 years old. Huh, I wonder. Actually, let me Google that right quick. Let's see. When did YouTube require you to prove your age? August 13th, 2025. And that is from AI. So if AI suspects a user is under 18, it will automatically apply restrictions even if the user previously listed themselves as an adult. If the AI determines a user is under 18 and the user believes this is incorrect, they must prove their age using a government ID, a selfie, or a credit card. The policy is designed to protect minors by restricting access to age-gated content, limiting targeted advertising, and applying, quote, digital well-being restrictions. For example, take a break reminders. That's what I have. I have a take a break reminder. While the major rollout occurred in the US in August 2025, these measures are part of a global gradual rollout aimed at compliance with various safety regulations. Okay, so I guess this lawsuit wasn't the reason they did that, but I only recently had pop-ups to prove my age. So they're saying, oh no, this was done, Emmy. It was right before the lawsuit was filed. Officially, I think. Let me see. When was... it's only telling me when the trial started. When was... Okay, so many of the lawsuits were filed in 2023, with the master complaint filed in February 2023. Throughout 2023 and 2024, dozens of states filed separate similar lawsuits against Meta and other platforms. So I think it was a result of all of these lawsuits happening. Oh, really, Evil Queen? You've never been asked? And I've noticed it on, like, if a creator has been age restricted through community guidelines, that's when they ask me to prove my age. If it's just a random video that hasn't been age restricted, it doesn't ask me to. Patricia says, this is the onslaught of digitizing identity worldwide, and we do not want that because the gatekeepers are inherently corrupt, in my opinion. Roblox started making players prove their age, as they should. I mean, Roblox is having there's so much going on that platform. Like, if anything, Roblox is the one who should be in a lawsuit, and I know they are already. Hey JS, how are you? My granddaughter is always on that Roblox thing, glued to her face. I mean, it is. And kids don't know how to talk to each other or anyone for that matter. I mean, a lot of kids, they don't have phones, or they don't use them a lot, but some of them, they just can't not have their phone. They have to always be doing something on it.
Are accused of deliberately creating addictive platforms. The plaintiffs are hoping to hold the tech giants accountable for harm to kids who use these social sites. TikTok and Snap were originally part of this trial, but settled outside of court. CBS News senior business and technology correspondent Jolene Kent is following this for us and joined us from LA. Good morning, Jolene.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to put the closed captioning on. 1 second.
So what happened in court yesterday? This is quite a big deal.
Errol, you're right. Good morning. This was a big deal. Opening statements began yesterday in a landmark trial against Meta and Google. And this is the first trial of several coming this year. And it marks the first time these companies will face a jury. And LA Superior Court plaintiffs allege that Instagram and YouTube are intentionally designed to be addictive and harmful, claiming that infinite scroll and the suggested content algorithms have contributed to teens' alleged addiction and decline in overall mental health. The plaintiff's attorney argued that these companies built machines designed to addict the brains of children, and they did it on purpose.
I feel like that is going to be hard to prove, because how can you prove someone's intent when they constructed these products? In my opinion, I don't know that when Mark Zuckerberg and, I don't remember who his other partner was, they created, I think it was first called, it wasn't called Facebook, it was called something else. I don't think they intentionally said, let's make something that's going to get children addicted to our platform. Because my understanding is that it was a project they had to do in college. And I believe I don't want to say rivals, but another group created Match.com. I mean, I don't know.
Now, we expect Meta CEO and Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg and the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, to testify this week and next. Meta also telling CBS News it strongly disagrees with these allegations and are confident the evidence will show our longstanding commitment to supporting young people. Meantime,
I mean, I think of, like when I was growing up, we had Nintendo. We did have a computer, but the games, I mean, I played Carmen Sandiego all the time after school. All the time. But my parents limited how much we could play. And they did that by putting the computer in their bedroom. So if we wanted to use the computer, we were in their bedroom. So when they told us to get out, we got out. Nintendo, I mean, my sister and I played it a lot, But same thing, like we went outside, my sister did sports more than I did. But like I read books a lot. And then college, you have AOL Instant Messenger, which I guess you could say I was, addicted to because that's how I talked to my friends, in different dorms or whatever. We didn't have cell phones, so we used AOL. I'm glad we didn't grow up with cell phones, honestly. Hey, Bob, how are you? I hope you're enjoying this somewhat warmer weather we've gotten. JS says, my son will have no device days and make her do something outside, bicycles, motorcycles, something. That's amazing. That's awesome. Doodle says, now players can only chat in their age groups until after 21. Well, I mean, I guess that's good. Like, are they proving that the people are the age they say? JS says they may be able to outline the parameters of the algorithm. See, and I'm thinking back when this girl was 10, because that was 9 years ago. And I guess you would have to go back to 9, 10, 8, 9 years ago. What did Facebook look like that long ago? Instagram. TikTok, I don't think was as popular as it is now 9 years ago. Snapchat, I guess Snapchat has been around for a while. Okay, 2011. Holy crap, 15 years ago? It was initially under the name Peekaboo. It was rebranded as Snapchat in September 2011. It officially launched on Android in 2013. Wow, I didn't realize Snapchat was that old.
Google, the parent company of YouTube, says it has put safety for young people at the forefront, and the allegations in these complaints are simply not true. And as you mentioned, Snap and TikTok, they were originally part of this lawsuit, but they settled out of court recently. And the outcome of this case, why should you care, could dictate how all of the other cases nationwide are decided, Errol.
Which I assume would affect all of us based on what is decided. Bob says algorithms are specifically intended to keep everyone scrolling. I'd say that's a basis for intent. But was it back 10 years ago? 20 years ago? I mean, Snapchat was created in 2011. That was 15 years ago. So was that their intent 15 years ago? Facebook's been around for, I feel like it's been at least 20. And Facebook wasn't like it is now. Facebook was literally you just posted pictures, and it was kind of like Instagram. You just did pictures. There wasn't all this video, and now on Facebook today I got there's these cheesy movies. They advertise on Facebook. So I start watching it and then they cut it off right at the good part. So then I'll have to go online to try to find it for free because I'm not paying to watch this cheesy movie that I got, wrapped up in on Facebook. So, I mean, I guess it depends for me. Like, when are they trying to say, these companies did this? Was it when they first created the company, or was it when this girl was 10 years old? And Facebook is 22 years old. Oh, it was called the Facebook. Okay, so it was the Facebook before it became Facebook, and now it's still Facebook, but it's now Meta. Wow. Patricia says, my son was a little blank when he was young, so every summer for the 6 weeks holiday, I took my kids camping to France, Spain, or just here in the UK for the whole 6 weeks. My son is now 30. That's so cool. Doodle says, parents have to work so much more now, both parents working full time. I don't know, the kids get left out of necessity. That is also true. Hey, Marie the Maina, thanks for being here. I think it's all about parental controls. JS says, I don't do social media. I post nothing. Talking here on YouTube is as much as I can do. Well, I learned the hard way not to post a lot of stuff online. Bob says, how many people that you know use the platforms you listed and have ended their accounts and shut down access to those platforms? Now, how many have continued on just as we have? Yeah, that's a good question. And it, it makes me ask, like, when I said it before, like, where is the line between parental responsibility and tech company responsibility? When does a parent take their child's cell phone? Or when do they stop paying for their children's cell phone? But just like iPads, it's a babysitter. Hey, Pookie, thanks for being here. I hope you're feeling better.
And Joe Ling, it's just so rare for these companies to be brought to court in such a way. And yes. I understand there's a separate case against Meta going on trial in New Mexico. The state's attorney general there spoke about that on the Takeout last night. Let's just quickly play.
What do y'all think? Like, why do y'all think it's taken this long? Like, why now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not 8 years ago? Was it just able to get through with, I don't remember her initials, K, I'll just call her K. Was it just able to get through the courts with K and these other lawsuits? I'd be interested to know when the first lawsuit was attempted. Like, when was the first lawsuit claiming these things filed in court? Because that would maybe appease my criticism.
A clip of that.
They've established one of the largest online platforms in the world where we know predators are going each and every day to try and target and exploit children. We know they've designed a product that is inherently dangerous for kids. And what we also know is that they've been lying to the public.
Wow. So what's happening in New Mexico?
So New Mexico's Attorney General Raul Torres there, who you just saw, filed this lawsuit a couple of years ago, alleging that Meta enabled sexual abuse, online solicitation, and human trafficking of minors.
So I hadn't known about that. So when I was looking up stuff about this lawsuit, I found information about that lawsuit saying that Facebook promoted solicitation, which I suppose it could. I wasn't on that side of Facebook, so I don't know. But it's interesting.
Minors, also due in part to the way it was designed. The AG is demanding changes to the platform, and now, as of last night on the Takeout, saying that he wants billions of dollars in damages. And Meta has responded in a statement that New Mexico's case, in their view, makes sensationalist, irrelevant, and distracting arguments, and that Meta works with parents and law enforcement to make changes aimed at improving safety on its apps. But these are two major trials to watch. Anyone on social media certainly should be paying attention. Errol.
Yeah, that's all of us. Jolene Kent, thanks so much.
All right, and I did see a comment from Bob that I wanted to read. JS says, maybe people are being more vocal about the side effects and the numbers are adding up. And that makes me, and that's why I want to do that live on how social media technology really affects children's brains, because apparently that was my algorithm, because I saw a bunch of different not articles, but news clips about how technology is affecting children's brains. And I can see how it's affecting children's brains. But this was more scientifically how it's affecting their brains and the brain development. Bob says, I have to go search my Discord to find the facts I wish to share with you. It discusses the tactics used to create algorithms aimed at children. When did it begin? Right, that's my question, because the K, which I also believe she went by Kaylee, because I saw that in one of the New York Times article. Kaylee, she was 10, which she's 19 now, so let's just say it was like 2016, 2017-ish when she started using social media. Pookie says, the internet started bringing my grandson out, but we also made sure he had plenty of real life time. Yeah. Patricia says, it's all about parenting. Parents should always be held responsible for their child's behavior and development. Jewel says, internet bad, parents not parenting good. LOL, sorry, but I find the lawsuit ridiculous because she was 9 years old. Well, in her defense, she's saying through her lifetime. So from the age of 10 to now. Well, 2 years ago it was filed, so she would have been 17. So between 10 and 17, she's saying that social media caused her to experience body dysmorphia, depression, and what was the other thing? Oh my gosh, no, I forgot. It was depression, anxiety, and body dysmorphia. All right, so let's see. Let's go to the next one. So this is a little bit repetitive of the last one, but it had an expert here that was talking about like the details of the lawsuit that I thought were important. I was able to find the actual lawsuit filed, but it is nearly 300 pages long. So I'm going to look through it just to see if there's anything worth mentioning, and then we can talk about that in a different live. But 300 pages is a little too long for me to go through. Gia says, sad thing I noticed on my walks, passing by the high school kids walking home, they all walk with their heads down, no eye contact. Yep, probably also looking at their phones or just walking. Bob says, but it's currently not just a theory, so I guess there needs to be a determination of when they began working with childhood psychologists and behavioral experts specialized in addiction. Yeah, good point. Good point. And that's why I wish this trial was being televised, because I just find it fascinating. Doodle says, to be fair, magazines used to cause women the same issues. Yep. I mean, just think of like Victoria's Secret, what's it called? Angels or whatever. They had their, oh my God, I don't remember the name, but they had like that show on TV. But really, just in general, I mean, Baywatch, you have all the, the skinny people. Yeah. Gia says, there seems to be an epidemic of young people not being able to handle any stress or adversity. They start screaming that they have anxiety and depression. I don't know. I have really bad anxiety. I have my entire life. I don't know where it comes from. I I assume my mom worries a lot. I don't know. But I've always had the bad habit of biting my fingernails. I'm just always anxious. And sometimes I don't know, well, a lot of times I don't know why. There's times where, I'll wake up and I will be so anxious I feel nauseous. And I have no idea why. None. And then usually when I go to work and I get distracted, it goes away, which is good. But I have no idea what causes it. None. I'm always worried about stuff. Doodle says, can we sue advertising companies? We probably could. Marie says, I think it's not just kids, adults too. I think it's all of us, for sure. Adults are responsible. We're responsible for ourselves. But I guess technically we could sue the company saying, they made it where we can just scroll. And then we find here's the thing. On TikTok, I don't know why I watch these things. The wig live shows. The girls that they'll put different wigs on. And they're like, oh, flash sale. Get your wig now, And why am I watching it? It's mindless. It's pointless. Why? Why am I watching this? I have no idea. It's just fascinating. I guess because it's fascinating. It's just, there's no stress in watching people try wigs on. I don't know. Today I had one on about those walking pads. So they're like the treadmills, but like the little ones you can have in your house that don't take up a lot of space. I was just watching this woman talk about these walking pads, walking on one of them. Why? I'm not going to buy one, but I watched it anyways. I don't know. Oh, no, I know, JS. I know that. Sorry if I made you feel like I was. Okay, JS says I would never bite my nails. I would pick my fingers. That's what my sister does. My sister does that. Evil Queen says I played sports and got into horses. I think I became addicted to the barn. Well, somebody needs to. Somebody needs to. Patricia says anxiousness comes from fear of failure. I don't know. I don't feel like that's why though. I'm just afraid. Well, I guess it is. It's a fear. It's definitely a fear, but I don't know about failure. I worry all the time. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Even if it's trash day, I will worry all day that I'm not going to remember to put the trash out. It's so dumb. I don't understand why I do it. And now, poor Alexa, I always yell at her, but she reminds me to do things because I know I will forget. So if I know she's going to remind me, I don't have to worry about remembering because she's going to tell me when to do it. But yeah.
Opening statements began today in Los Angeles in a landmark trial over alleged social media addiction. Meta's Facebook and Instagram and Google's YouTube have been accused of deliberately designing their products to addict and harm children. The case was brought by a 19-year-old who claims that using social media from a young age led to a technology addiction and suicidal thoughts. TikTok and Snap, which were originally named in the lawsuit, have settled for undisclosed sums. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Carter Evans. Carter, what makes this case stand out?
Okay, so normally, whenever social media companies have faced criticism for items that have been posted on their site, they cite the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, which basically gives them protection. Basically, it says they are not liable for what other people post on their platforms.
So they're saying they're not liable for what other people post on their platforms. I feel like that is what a lot of YouTube creators also say. The opinions of the creator are not those shared, by others on the panel, or my opinions do not reflect, my chat. There's always those disclaimers, but that's what they are. They're just disclaimers. It doesn't mean that you're not responsible. I mean, Pookie was just telling me the other day that on TikTok, which I saw a bunch of things today on Facebook, it was disgusting, about Nancy Guthrie. But Pookie was telling me she saw things that were blatantly untrue. So she reported them on, I think it was TikTok, and TikTok came back and said they didn't violate our policies. Like, I was seeing on Facebook, Nancy Guthrie found. Like, that was what the screenshot of the reel was. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I reported the one I saw. Nothing's probably going to happen. But how is that okay? It is deliberately, it's a deep fake. It is deliberately spreading misinformation. And then when you click on it, it talks about her being missing. I don't get it. It's so awful. Oh, it was TikTok. Okay, I was right. JS says, I forget the trash all the time. I just can't remember what day it is. Sometimes I forget, and then I'll be like, crap. But they've been coming usually, well, they used to come at like 6 a.m. So if I forgot, that was it. Now they don't come until after I leave for work. So if I do forget, at least I can, get it out there before I leave for work. But yeah. Yeah, right. Have her remind. Doodle says, I can't imagine blaming anyone but myself for my child's social media time. Hey, Sunnyside, how are you? Yeah, it's Yanni, it's awful. And then, just a sidetrack, TMZ says they got another email from this. Like, this person is just playing games. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. They should stop humoring this idiot who keeps saying this is the last time you're going to hear from me, and then they email them again. Like, just block the person. I don't know. It's really getting out of hand.
That's not what this case is about. This case is about how they delivered that information to individuals. It looks at the algorithm.
Okay, so it says, and I'm going to rewind this a little because I did hear him say algorithm. So it says Section 230, Communications Decency Act of 1996, gives limited federal immunity to internet providers and users, prevents providers and users from being held liable for third-party content. Okay, so that's saying whatever we post on YouTube is not liable for what we do. They have their terms of service, which helps protect them, but ultimately, what we say or do, if it's not against TOS, they are not liable for what we say. Doesn't prevent them from being held liable for information they've developed, which I would assume would be the algorithm
on their platforms. That's not what this case is about. This case is about how they delivered that information to individuals. It looks at the algorithms and it looks at the targeting, the methods that these companies used to essentially, in the plaintiff's words, get kids addicted to the product here.
Who can we expect to hear from during this trial?
Well, it's going to be interesting. So Meta and Facebook are named in this trial. So we're expecting to hear from Mark Zuckerberg, and Meta confirmed that he is going to take the stand. So that's going to be something that everyone is watching. Also, the head of Instagram, CEO Adam Mosseri, he is going to be testifying on the witness stand. Now, you mentioned before that Snap and TikTok have already settled this case. That says a lot, right? It says that this method that they're going to go after, this mechanism of delivering this content to children, well, there may be something there if two of these social media networks already settled.
I think that, like, it could be that, It could also be that they just didn't want to have to pay out more if a jury found in favor of the plaintiff. They could have wanted to settle to save money instead of it costing them money. I feel like it could go both ways. It could be that there's something there, or it could just be that they wanted to save themselves some money if it went in favor of the plaintiff.
But YouTube and Meta say that is not the case. They are there to protect children, and they're willing to defend it in court and even put Zuckerberg on the stand.
Carter, one word I keep hearing with this is bellwether. Why is that?
It's a bellwether case because there are thousands, literally thousands of cases just like this waiting in the wings. And what they're watching for is to see the success of this particular strategy. A lot of people have said that this is not unlike the big tobacco trials in the 90s, where they were accused of deliberately making products that were dangerous and they knew were addictive and trying to.
So for those of you who may have been around, I mean, I was around in the 90s, but I was a kid, so I wasn't really paying attention. Well, a teenager. Is that when they had to put the labels? Is that what caused cigarette companies to have to put the Surgeon General's warning on labels? Were the lawsuits filed? Was that a result of that? Or were they doing that even before the lawsuits?
Hook people on it. Well, the tobacco companies ended up settling, and this is a similar method that these plaintiffs are approaching towards social media companies and how they deliver content in an addicting way to children.
Carter Evans, thanks so much.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. All right, so I think, let's see, I think we've got just a couple more clips. The one thing so as they were talking about algorithms, I'm just going to go to my YouTube homepage because I'm like, let's just see what my algorithm looks like right now. Actually, let me refresh just to see, because it's listening. I know it's listening. Let's just see what it has on here. So SWAT deployment in Pima County as mystery DNA emerges in Nancy Guthrie case. Top AI researcher warns world is in peril. I would probably agree with that man. JLR. 52,000 people still watching him drive around. Earlier, I will say there was he was walking with somebody named, now I don't remember the guy's name. Nick? I think it was Nick. He was walking around with some guy named Nick. So I was watching it for a little bit because they were kind of walking around the neighborhood, but like 52,000 people just watching to see if something happens. And there was a clip of a lady I saw today. It was Judith something. And I actually added her to my watch later list because I thought I was between talking about Nancy Guthrie today or this, and this, to me, this was more important and more interesting. Like, I'm just fascinated by this. So she was saying, like, it's getting old. And, looking at all of the media still parked outside Nancy Guthrie's home, like just lining streets, not just that section, but street lengths of just cars, and these neighbors just trying to live their life. I mean, it's a lot. JLR looks like CP30. What's CP30? Sunnyside, the only thing that I've seen is that there was a third email sent to TMZ today. The sheriff allegedly said that it's untrue that a glove was found inside Nancy Guthrie's home because it was reported that the sheriff was denying the FBI access to a glove and DNA evidence found inside her home. Oh, okay, from Star Wars. Gotcha. I was okay. Now, is that the tall, like he's like the gold bronze color? He's like the taller one because was it R2D2 is the little one, right? Bob says the AI photos being created using the original Ellie surveillance footage and images and then being pasted or posted publicly with no disclaimer has me hot. It's completely irresponsible. I don't know if I've seen any AI photos. But I mean, there's so much AI out there, it's hard to believe what's real and what's not. I'm really bummed to see what a bad impression so many are seeing when it comes to Tucson. All right, so let's see what else we got. Oh, here's the lady I was talking about. She's super cute. Her name is Judith. Penny shopping. Okay, there's penny shopping. Now here's another thing. So this sketch, if you look at this middle one, this social media person, I don't know who she is, but she used her knowledge, whatever, to come up with a sketch of what the perpetrator outside Nancy Guthrie's home may look like. People are going around saying that the FBI released a sketch of the individual. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. These people need to start learning how to Google, how to look up information, and stop spreading misinformation. This I think is Tiny Dancer. This video is incredible. And then this lady I think is like a health person. Okay. All right, saving money, perfect. No idea who this person is. Middle-class Americans sell their plasma to make ends meet. Okay. So news, a lot of news. ICE, Nancy Guthrie, State of the Union. Oh, here's Tumbler Ridge. So we talked about that. SWAT on the... Oh, apparently SWAT is on the move. DNA, not Nancy Guthrie. No idea what that means. All right, so I mean, a lot of my algorithm is news. Lots of news. Penny shopping. Ooh. Oh, I know what we're doing next week. So I'm glad I went over to my page. So the dad of Colton Gray, who opened fire at Appalachia School in Georgia, the dad was also arrested because they provided the gun used in the attack. Dad's trial starts on Monday. Yeah. All right, y'all. That's what we're going to start doing on Monday. Oh, what's this stuff? Games? What is this? I've never seen this before. So now they're trying to suck you in by playing games. I have never seen this on YouTube before. Has anybody else? I guess I don't scroll down far enough. What? Catch the killer? What is happening? Oh, and then these are like old, 8 months ago, 5 months ago. This guy I just started watching, Derek Van Skyke. He does like forensic psychology stuff. And I don't ever scroll this far down. Oh, and then a bunch of voice stuff. Okay. So you get it. This is clearly I'm boring. Like this is my feed. Marie says, when I clicked on him, oh, JLR, he was singing and giggling. It did make me smile. I don't think I've ever heard him sing. Evil Queen says, I don't trust what I'm looking at anymore. Yeah, you never know if it's real or not. All right, let's get back over here.
Good afternoon. Firing back at the state's star witness, attorneys for Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta, spent the day grilling a former employee in the state's lawsuit accusing Meta of putting young users in danger. News 13's Bella Olage is covering this trial, and she is live in Santa Fe with the latest.
Dean, it was a tense courtroom today as Meta attorneys hit back at claims made by the company's former senior staff member Arturo Bejar. Now, Bejar says Meta's leadership downplayed the risks to children on its social media platforms for the sake of profits. But Meta's attorneys suggest Bejar is lying.
So that public statement, we don't allow under 13-year-olds, and your knowledge that there were some under 13-year-olds, that was you lying, right?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Well, and here's the thing. 13-year-olds are not, or people under 13 are not supposed to be on these social media sites. Kids under 13 lie. They will make an account and just put an age in that is older than what they are. So that's, and that's why if social media companies have to require ID in order to create accounts, that's what's going to end up happening. So you either show your ID or you don't use our site.
Throwing his own statements and words at him, Meta cross-examined Bejar over his more than day-long testimony. He claims Meta's leadership failed to act on internal data showing a lack of safety for young users on their platforms, including Facebook and Instagram. Bejar worked with Meta on and off between 2009 and 2021 and shared stories about his daughter's negative experiences using Meta's networks. The defense asked Bejar today if he was so concerned, why'd he let his 14-year-old daughter use Meta's apps?
You did not remove all.
That's a good question. If you were so concerned, why did you allow your own child to use the platform? Good question.
All of the child safety harms on the Facebook app from 2009 to 2015, despite the best efforts of yourself and your team. Did you?
I was able to put meaningful processes in place, but there's always going to be more things to do.
The defense also questioned Bejar about the validity of an internal survey with stats on users' Instagram experiences, that is, while also suggesting that users' bad experiences are subjective. Now, there is going to be another former employee, Brian Boland, expected to testify next. Back to you.
All right, Bella, thank you. This landmark trial expected to continue for the next 2 months.
And now to the...
Okay, so let me just pause there for a second. So they said 2 months. That's a pretty lengthy time. Sunnyside says it's WV's birthday tomorrow. Who's WV? Yinny says, I even saw an AI pic made from the guy in Cam holding an elderly woman. Oh my God. Well, they did the same thing with Alex Preddy. They AI, photoshopped a photo to show that he had a gun. And people believed it. Get a grip, people. Look at the actual video. Bob says, one indication that might help y'all be able to recognize AI, if it's surveillance with night vision, know that it's not possible to, quote, reveal color. No night vision surveillance footage will have color. That is very true. Bob says, besides lacking any disclaimer that AI was used, It's written in a way that could easily imply those are the same photos. LE released. See, so that would be disinformation, correct? They're deliberately, they know it's not correct and they spread it anyways. Oh no, wait, I have two more stories. So I have this one talks about the Instagram CEO testifying today. And then the last clip I have is of a family who supports this lawsuit because of what happened with their daughter. So I have two more clips and then we'll kind of see where
the landmark social media addiction trial playing out in Los Angeles right now. Instagram CEO taking the stand today, its parent company Meta, and Google's YouTube are accused of designing their sites to be addictive for younger users. And both companies deny these allegations, saying that they have protective features in place for young people. In a statement today, Meta says, quote, "The question for the jury in Los Angeles is whether Instagram was a substantial factor in the plaintiff's mental health struggles. The evidence will show that she faced many significant, difficult challenges well before she ever used social media."
See, and that's interesting because when then I think like this girl is suing TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, and YouTube. Or I said Facebook twice. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Are those the only four she used? And, like they say here, they're going to be able to prove that she faced these challenges before she even started using social media.
So for more on all this, I want to bring in ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. And Brian, it's a fascinating case, but Adam Mosseri, who runs Instagram, he said that it's important to differentiate between clinical addiction and problematic use. But even with that, it was kind of interesting because isn't he kind of acknowledging the issues with their platform?
He's acknowledging to some extent, Alex, and I would frame it as this. He's what we call an adverse witness. The plaintiff is calling him to the stand and not asking these open-ended questions, but instead treating more like a cross-examination because they know they're not going to get the perfect answer out of him. And so he is conceding some points, saying like, hey, I understand automatic scrolling, or what some people would call doom scrolling, and just keep going and going, could be problematic, but it doesn't lend itself to the legal issue here of having an addiction or a mental health issue. So he's trying to differentiate because he can't come out and just say, you know what, there are no problems with social media. That would be an unimaginable argument to one that he wouldn't win. But he's also pushing back through his attorneys and saying, as you read in the quote, that there were issues with this specific person long before they got on social media. In opening statements, we've heard that the young woman was in therapy at the age of 3, that they're going to be presenting information, that there is physical and emotional abuse at the hands of the mother, and that the father abandoned her before a lot.
Okay, that is, if they're able to show that, that's pretty significant. That this poor girl had been in therapy since she was 3 years old, and she had suffered physical and emotional abuse from her mother, and that her dad had abandoned her. Did social media exacerbate her issues? Probably. Was it healthy for her to be on social media? Probably not. Maybe she thought she was, I can't speak for her, I don't know, but she probably was looking for an escape or someone to talk to understand what she was going through, or just as an escape. That'll be interesting for sure.
A lot of these issues came up, so they're trying to differentiate between what the actual issue is here to avoid liability.
Well, and the other thing, if I understand this correctly, Snapchat and TikTok settled in this case. They were previously named as plaintiffs. They settled in this case last month, I believe. And so how is that impacting Instagram and Google?
So as a part of that quote that you read at the beginning of this segment, where it's about the substantial factor of damages to an individual, the parties that are still there get to kind of point to the proverbial empty chair in the room. We've seen it with YouTube saying that we're not really a social media platform in the same way that Instagram is, for example. And so with Snapchat and others like TikTok already taking a plea, they could, in a sense, say, you know what, TikTok's addicting. Look at what happened with the Senate and the whole issue of trying to keep that going. Instagram is an issue, but not us, YouTube. And so them settling could create another argument. But if they are found liable, TikTok and Snapchat get to say, hey, look, they're the issue, not us. We don't need to change. So it's a bit of a good and bad for both sides.
Oh, that's interesting. That I hadn't thought about that. So he just said because Snapchat and TikTok settled before trial, if it is found that YouTube and Instagram are liable, or I'm sorry, Meta and Instagram are liable, that TikTok and Snapchat can say, oh, see, it's not us that's the problem, it's them. Even though they settled before it went to trial. That's crazy.
Okay, Brian Buckmeyer for us. Thank you as always.
Oh, and that was it. All right.
All right, now to a
let's see what chat's saying. Bob says another indicator that AI was used, look for abnormal or inconsistent landscape. For example, if camera view is of a front lawn in a desert location, yet one of the photos shows green grass, it's AI. So funny thing. So my thumbnail for this live is AI generated. And AI doesn't always get things correct. When I loved the image because it had all of the, the logos for the social media platforms. It had a girl on her phone. Well, what it did was actually her phone screen was facing backwards. So it was facing away from her face, not toward her face. So I had to strategically place where I put the words on the thumbnail so that it would cover up the AI error. Because sometimes when you tell AI to great, that looks great. Can you please move, turn the phone towards her face, not away from her face? Sometimes it makes it worse. So I just put the words strategically to cover up AI's mistake. But that thumbnail was AI generated. Give me 1 second. Nanny says, even some adults live their lives through social media. Seems like that is their social interactions. That is true. And some people don't have any other way to socialize. And, it's not because of any fault of their own. It just, sometimes those social interactions aren't necessarily the healthiest relationships. Bob says, I know that we now have to select if our uploads contain AI. However, I'm not familiar with that setting being required when posting on our wall. If it's not, that's a dangerous loophole. Cool. What platform? So I know when I schedule my lives, I do it through StreamYard on my phone, but then I always go to Studio to show, but you have to go through, and actually, let me just go to my thing now and see what it, because where would it show? I think it would show the disclaimer in the, underneath the description, I would think. Let me see. Oh yeah, and actually I'm going to show you guys this. I don't think it's against TOS to just show you the back part. So this is what I see, right? So I have my description, this and that, right? So what you have to do is scroll all the way down, and here you'll see a show more. So really this is all you see. Oop, let me move this comment, sorry. This is all you see, but then you have to hit show more. So no, it's not made for kids. So that's set by me. But then you have to scroll down, and then it says altered content. Do any of the following describe your content? Makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't say or do. alters footage of a real event or place, generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. Well, I'm going to check no, because mine isn't. Like, my thumbnail is AI, but it didn't alter anything. Well, it did generate a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. Well, let me hit yes and see what happens. Yes. Okay, so then if I go to, let's see if I go to my YouTube page, and you have to do that every single time. Like, it doesn't default. Like with my description, I can put this in and it automatically defaults, so I don't have to put it in every single time. So let's go to my channel. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and if I scroll down, oh, nope, don't want to hear myself talking again. Oh, there we go. So if you go to description, right? So here's everything that I had. If I scroll all the way down, it does say altered or synthetic content. Sound or visuals were significantly edited or digitally created. Well, it wasn't significantly edited, so I need to uncheck that because that's not true. The thumbnail was AI. So yeah, and you have to check that every single time on your thing. And there's a difference. The one thing I will also point out is that there is a difference between not made for kids and age restriction. So if we go back to this real quick, right? So I have no, it's not made for kids. Here it says, do you want to restrict your video to an adult audience? No, I don't, because I don't use vulgar language. I don't, some creators should check that. But as it says, these videos may have limited or no ads monetization. So they would rather click no to earn the funds and then just be restricted either while they're live or after they're live. So there we go. So when they say that they have no control over it, yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right. So last thing I've got on that little tangent there. The last thing I have is a clip from a family who actually agrees with this lawsuit. They support it. Sunnyside said, that's interesting. I never noticed that when uploading a short. I'll have to. I don't know if they have it for. You know what? They do have it on shorts. It's weird though, because when you upload a short, you have to click on, I think there's a thing like see more or something, and then you have to go to, it says something, and then it goes to another menu, and then you have to click on that. It's weird now, but there is a place for it. Oh, and Bop answered it. For shorts that are posted and we wonder if it was created with the AI, click the 3 dots on the top right, open the description. It will include the AI or program used to alter. Yep. Okay. So I actually just showed that. Can you run a test if there is that same altered option to select when doing a community post of just an image? Yeah. Let me go back to my page. I don't know. I always do posts usually on my phone. And I know the phone is different than the computer. Okay, so public. All right, image. Oh, you know what? Let me, just in case, let me just take this down for a second. I don't know what pictures are going to show up. Probably a bunch of screenshots. Okay, why isn't it showing? Oh, here, we'll use this one. Okay, so let me add this back. This is just a picture I had of above Nancy Guthrie's house. So it says edit preview. Nope, so that's just to move it around. No, it doesn't. That's it. Visibility, save preview, and then post. There's nothing to say if it was, unless, I'll just try one more thing. Give me 1 second. Let me go back to studio, maybe. Let me go to post through studio and see if I can do anything different. Huh, nope. Details. No, and then even in studio, it just shows text, video, comments, and ratings. So you can comment, you can turn comments on, etc. It just shows if you have restrictions or not. It doesn't have anything about AI for posts, which, as you said, can be very dangerous because that's what people are doing. They're just posting things that aren't true. All right, let me get back over to this other page. Huh. You know what? That has me wondering. Can you actually, let me rephrase that. Identify a post on YouTube. All right, that's not what I wanted to know, YouTube or Google. There we go. Maybe that's something we could suggest to YouTube that they do, that they put something there. That is true too. Any ethical creator wouldn't post AI altered surveillance photos from Ellie to begin with. And I think you can, there should be a way to, I think you can report it, but I don't think you can report posts using the long form. Let me go back to my page quick and just see. Posts. Let's see. You could report the post for spam or misleading, but I don't think it lets you use the long form to explain why. But that, if you see something that's AI generated, a post, you can report it for spam or misleading.
Landmark trial in Los Angeles that gets underway this week. Some are calling it the internet's big tobacco moment. It accuses Meta and YouTube of fueling a youth mental health crisis by keeping teens addicted. 95% 5% of teens between the ages of 13 and 17 use social media. According to a recent report by the U.S. Surgeon General, about a third of them say they use it constantly. Among them was Alexandra Hinks, a teenager from Marin County. Her parents say social media played a role in her death, and they're closely watching this case that could hold big tech companies accountable.
Victoria Hinks slowly opens up her daughter Alexandra's room. It's filled with drawings of family, her dog, and colorful expressions of joy.
If you ask anyone to describe Owl, the first word they would say is kind. She was kind.
Owl was Alexandra Hinks' nickname. She was just 16 years old when she took her own life on August 7th, 2024.
She was so energetic and vivacious and full of life. And then social media led her down a really dark path. She was such a sweet little thing.
Victoria and her husband Paul say Alexandra quickly became addicted to TikTok, Snapchat, and other social media platforms. They applied and monitored parental controls, but believe those safe.
So I also have this where it'll tell me, remind me in 5 minutes, remind me in 15 minutes, ignore limit for today. And I have this when I'm on my iPad because that's where I usually play like Gardenscapes, Homescapes, Monopoly Go. So that'll always come up to kind of tell me, okay, you've already been playing games for an hour. You probably should take a break or stop playing altogether. I will say that usually I do hit ignore limit for today. I usually do, but it does let me become more mindful. Okay, Emmy, you've been sitting around for an hour doing absolutely nothing. Maybe you should get up and do something instead of playing games for another hour.
Measures touted by social media companies are ineffective.
They are addicted to the content, and they will find a way around it.
That's why Paul and Victoria are attending a first-of-its-kind trial in Los Angeles to show solidarity against social media companies. It's the first time Meta and YouTube, accused of creating algorithms that cause addiction and mental health issues for children, will argue their case before a jury. Eric Goldman is an internet law expert and law professor at Santa Clara University.
Social media is very much in the crosshairs, and there's no guarantee that it's going to survive all the different legal challenges it faces.
Goldman says this bellwether trial can be seen as a test case, with the results setting the tone for hundreds, if not thousands, of other cases.
This one bellwether trial itself is just one of many that could occur, but it's the first that gives us some sense about how juries are reacting to the arguments.
Tech executives, including Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, are expected to testify, but legal analysts say the majority of the trial will center around experts arguing whether social media apps are addictive and cause harm.
These companies are going to have to answer to someone because they've ignored people for too long.
Reminders of Owl are all around the Hinks home as her parents cling to her loving memories.
You know, she's an angel, and I do feel like she's trying to help us fight for justice because too many other kids have the same problem. Too many kids.
They believe the outcome of this trial can lead to significant changes within the social media industry and help other families become even more aware of what they say are deadly devices in the hands of children.
I can't completely agree with that. I can't agree that social media was the only cause of what happened. And to call cell phones deadly machines.
That was Kenny Choi reporting. The Hinks attended a vigil outside the Los Angeles County Courthouse along with other parents who lost children. They are not part of the ongoing case, but they filed their own lawsuit against social media companies. As for the trial that's now happening, the head of Instagram was on the witness stand today. He was the first tech executive to testify and refuted claims the platform is clinically addictive. He said the platform has protections in place for young users. The case was filed by a 20-year-old California woman who already settled with Snap.
Oh, she's 20.
Meta's Mark Zuckerberg will also testify. Meta issued a statement saying it strongly disagrees with the allegations and that it's confident the evidence will show our long-standing commitment to supporting young people. If you or someone you know is struggling, you can call the 988 Crisis Lifeline. You can reach them 24/7.
Okay, and I was curious about Alexandra's story, so I just Googled her. And there is a video. Let me see what this one says. Okay, so I'm just going to show this. This is something I didn't have, but I think this is important. It says Alexandra Hinks fell down the rabbit hole of social media addiction. Fed content glamorizing self-harm and body image issues, she sadly died by suicide at age 16. Alexandra's parents are channeling their profound loss into advocating for social media safety. AG Banta is sponsoring Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Cahan's AB 56, which would require social media companies to place a warning label about the mental health harms of social media on their platforms, creating another tool in the toolbox to address this crisis. We urge the legislature to ensure this critical bill moves to the floor. So that would be similar to what tobacco companies had to do with labeling their products. Which it makes me think of the videos that sometimes you see that it'll say like, this video may be, I don't know what it usually says, like may show something with self-harm or something, and you have to say accept or deny. I'm guessing that's like what it is, but unless when you sign on, there will be a pop-up saying, this may cause mental health harm to you. Do you want to proceed? It's just crazy. People just believe what they see and don't look deep into anything. Yeah, it's true. All right, so let's just take a look at this. I'm curious. Ooh, volume on.
I'm just a mother. I'm a mother who has lost her baby. I loved her so much.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
We've always been a very close family, very tight-knit. We did everything together. We loved spending time with each other in each other's companies. We had family dinners, Sunday roasts, lunches, like English traditions. My husband's from England, so we leaned into a lot of those things. Al was born on October 1st, 2007. And
I love that her nickname was Owl. I've never heard anyone with the nickname Owl.
Her name is Alexandra Lily Hinks. And her older sister called her Owlexandra when she was born. And then she started just calling her Owl. Owlexandra got shortened to Owl. And then it just stuck and we all called her Owl. She was a gentle soul and very empathetic, loving. Like many teenage girls, she could be sassy at times and strong-willed, but she was a lover. She was around 13 and a half or 14 when she first started using social media.
When we originally gave her the phone.
Okay, so she was older, which I think was, kudos to mom and dad. I think 13, 14 is a good age.
We didn't let her have any social media apps at all. We had a complete veto. She couldn't install any apps without our permission. After a couple of years, she asked for TikTok. All her friends are doing TikTok.
We thought that was harmless videos and things.
Around that time, I think she started to figure out how to bypass all of those controls.
Parental controls, time limits. She only had an hour of screen time a day for social media. And it worked for a little while, but what worked at 13 didn't work at 15 or 16.
We found that with that phone, with that restriction on, it would just say, do you want another minute? And she could do that all night.
I watched her get more obsessed with TikTok as time went on. The constant videoing of herself, the constant looking on Instagram.
And then at what point do you, I mean, I can't speak, I'm not a parent, but at what point would a parent say, okay, that's it. We're taking your phone, we're locking it up, you're not going to be on it all night.
Seeing like Barbie doll type characters, it put a constant pressure on like, okay, I have to look this way because I'm going out for the whole world to see. She became reclusive, wanted to just be in her bedroom with the door shut. The thing that we had to do to sort of enforce these limits escalated to actual physical things like taking the door off of her bedroom so that she had no privacy, which seems extreme, but like at some point, like I wasn't gonna get like physical. She had complete meltdowns. There was one time I remember in particular where we said she's not gonna have it for the rest of the evening. I can't remember what she had done, but she melted down in a way that was terrifying and screaming and crying. And I was just exhausted.
And that, in my opinion, shows addiction. When this family, these parents tried to restrict her use and she had a complete meltdown, that's addiction. That is a mental health crisis.
Thought like I can't do this anymore. It's ruining our relationship. It's not fair. Felt like this interloper had come into our lives and taken over my sweet daughter. And I was just trying to do the best for her because I wanted to follow the rules and do what good parents supposedly do.
We outsourced a lot of this. We had a therapist, we had a psychiatrist. I mean, she had school therapies. She had a lot of professional adults in her life trying to keep things under control. And at the end of the day, I think we all let her down. Nothing we did helped her in the end.
See, and I don't think you should think that way. Like, I think everyone tried their best. And the fact that he and his wife got her therapy, psychiatrist, they had school therapists speak with her. They did everything right. Everything that they could.
Yeah, you can't go back. Try it again. You get one chance.
I miss her terribly every day. Getting through every day is like a triumph. There is nothing worse in the entire world that could happen to a parent except for losing a child. She was my little owl, and our family just will never be the same again. We'll never be the same again.
We trusted this company that made these devices that they tout as being safe, and all the things they tell you, that secure and all that stuff, and you have to trust them. And I felt betrayed.
And I'm not afraid of anything now because the worst thing could ever possibly happen has happened to me. So I have no fear. This is my life's purpose now. I don't want her short 16 years to be in vain. Parenting is hard enough as it is. So, the social media companies need to take some responsibility for it so it's not all on the parents.
This bill, to me, is a good first step.
They're not going to regulate themselves. So that's why AB 56 is so important, having the black box label warning on there. is so critical to remind, and some parents might not even know any of these things that are going on. So it's important for them to know.
If the social media companies aren't going to do this on their own, then the law needs to change and something needs to happen to keep children safe.
How many other parents have to bury their children before something is finally done to put people over profits? It can be done.
Okay, so sorry about that. I was trying to find because they had mentioned the AB 56. So I was trying to find an article or something in regards to that. Here it is right here. Okay, so we will end with this. And I kicked myself off. So it says California leads the charge in protecting children online, and this was October 2025. On October 13th, 2025, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed into law AB 56, the social media warning law, which reaffirms California's leadership in consumer protection. This legislation is part of a broader package of child safety bills introduced during the current legislative session, reflecting a concerted effort by lawmakers to address an alleged, quote, ongoing youth mental health crisis linked by the United States Surgeon General to excessive and problematic social media usage by children and adolescents. With AB 56 passage, California joins Minnesota in requiring mental health warning labels on social media platforms. It does say that the law explicitly excludes platforms whose primary function is the sale of goods or services, cloud storage, electronic mail, direct messaging, internal organizational communication, or collaboration tools not offered to the general public. Under the new law, covered platforms must display the following black box warning to users, reasonably determined to be under the age of 17. The Surgeon General has warned that while social media may have benefits for some young users, social media is associated with significant mental health harms and has not been proven safe for young users. The warning must be delivered in two formats. Initial access warning. This warning must be displayed clearly and conspicuously for at least 10 seconds when the child first accesses the covered platform in a manner that occupies at least 25% of the screen or window. This initial warning can be affirmatively skipped by the user. Usage-based warning. This warning must be displayed after 3 hours of cumulative active use and repeated at least once per hour thereafter for at least 30 seconds in a manner that occupies at least 75% of the screen or window. This warning cannot be bypassed by the user. These requirements are designed to interrupt prolonged use and reinforce awareness of potential harms. I feel like 3 hours is really long. I really like that idea though. I really like that idea. Yeah, it is really sad. Super sad. Oh no, JS. 12-year-old. And that makes me think of Sammy. Sammy Twish. I believe Sammy was 11. Or no, he was 10, I think. Let me just look up. Sammy Twish. I'll never forget him. 10. He was 10. He died by suicide in December 2024. And that was, he was bullied on the bus. He was bullied at school. He, was bullied through, I don't know if it was social media, but it was, his harassers would contact his sister and, then, they would be like, oh, let me talk to your brother. And then they would harass him over the phone. That was terrible. Bob says, one young lady who had gone missing, her parents had attempted to monitor and restrict after finding she was communicating with an adult. She had so many tricks to keep it secret. She ran away right after her parents removed all her devices and usage. Oh no. Oh yeah, I went a little bit longer than I had expected, but I think that last thing was really important. Bob says, these are the reasons I can't only put full blame on the parents. They're clever. Take one phone. A friend will bring her one at school to be able to use. And the one thing that kids are doing, they have 2 phones. So they have a burner phone and they have their actual phone. So when you tell them to turn in their cell phone, they're turning in either the burner phone or the dummy phone. So they also bring in dummy phones where they're phones that are not like activated. So they'll turn in the dummy phone, but then keep the phone that actually works. They're clever. They know how to get around stuff. JS says, I've seen adults getting arrested have full-blown meltdowns over not having their phones in their hands. You know, and I've forgotten my phone at home sometimes, and I get anxious because I just think that's the only way I could get a hold, you know, if my parents, of course they could call the school, but like, you know, I don't have my phone. And so they might think because of Life 360 that I never made it to work. So then they're worrying. So I always have to, when I get to school, I call my parents and I'm like, just so you know, I forgot my phone at home. I'm at work. I'm okay. If you need me, call the school. But I get it. Like I feel, you know, I'm always like, where's my phone? And then usually, sometimes my phone is in my back pocket or in my actual hand. Like it's right there. It's right there. Or sometimes I'll even leave it in the refrigerator for whatever reason. I guess because it was in my hand when I went there to get a drink. And then I just set it down and there it stayed. There it stayed. Bob says, once these minors get that first taste of online communication, stripping them or even just limiting them has proven time and time again to be extremely difficult, in many cases impossible. Mm-hmm. You did, Nanny. So sad. JS says, I was horribly bullied in school, but never thought to do that. It's so sad. And I just think I was heavier in school and kids were assholes. And I just think, thank God there wasn't social media when I was growing up. Thank God. Thank God. It was bad enough to have people harass and bully you in person. You know, and I can't imagine what it's like online, especially with all of these, you know, images and things. But the one thing I will say, I've noticed at least on TikTok, is that when people are using filters, it will actually tell you that a filter is being used. So I don't know if that's, you know, if the uploader needs to choose that or if it just automatically does it. But I think that's a good thing because then, you know, kids who are watching can be like, oh, that's not really what they look like. They're using a blemish-free filter or smooth skin filter. Or I think the one I saw today was flawless skin filter. Flawless skin filter. So I thought that was a good thing. So thanks everybody for being here. I did go over my 2 hours, but that is one way that I limit myself from going live. I have my 2-hour limit. Sometimes I go over it. Sometimes I go under it, but I try not to go more than that. I know unless it's like a trial, but even then 2.5 hours like that, I'm ready to get up and move and do something else. So thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. I was going to do my weekly live on my second channel, but I think I'm gonna skip that and just do a live on this channel to talk about any updates we might have on Nancy Guthrie. I will say Pookie sent me an update from KOLD. Actually, I'll just read to y'all. And this was from, it was updated 12 minutes ago. And it says, new DNA samples from Nancy Guthrie's home sent for testing, not connected to victim or so. Let me just see what this says. So new DNA samples from Nancy Guthrie's home sent for testing, not connected to victim or family. On Friday, February 13th, the Pima County... Hold on a second. What? Stop talking. I keep hearing something. I don't... Oh, and you can't see... Oh my gosh, what is happening? I keep hearing like a squeak or something. I don't know why I'm hearing a squeak. Okay. Let me restart. So on Friday, February 13th, the Pima County Sheriff's Department released a major update in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. The PCSD said new DNA samples from her home were sent off for testing, and that DNA is not from Guthrie or anyone in close contact with her. We are not disclosing where that DNA was located, the PCSD said in a release. The PCSD reiterated that no one has been ruled out as a suspect and no suspect vehicle has been identified. So all of those creators running around talking about a gray truck, no suspect vehicle has been identified. The PCSD also confirmed several gloves have been found during the investigation, as 13 News has already reported. But the closest gloves were around 2 miles from the crime scene, and the PCSD said reports of gloves being found inside the home or on the property are untrue. The Guthrie family scheduled routine pool maintenance on Friday, and the PCSD said it had nothing to do with the investigation. Same thing. People were going around saying that there was evidence in the pool. Like, why are they cleaning the pool? Was there evidence? You have to maintain pools, regardless if you're there or not. Like, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Are we being trolled by Emmy? What happened? Can y'all hear me? I'm just reading it. I'm not showing you anything. Okay, so I read that. The PCSD said investigations are still following up on leads and that the new description of the suspect released by the FBI earlier in the week remains the focus. Nancy Guthrie was last seen alive at her home in the Catalina foothills on Saturday, January 31st. She was reported missing the next day when she didn't show up for church. Her disappearance triggered a large search and investigation, with the FBI and other local, state, and federal agencies helping the PCSD. In relation to the FBI and the sheriff being in disagreement, let's see, it says several national media outlets reported that an unnamed source claimed that Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is blocked by the FBI from accessing key evidence in the Nancy Guthrie case. Nanos told 13 News that it is not true and said that the PCSD wants all evidence to be submitted to the same lab for testing. In this case, it is DNA Labs International in Florida. Nanos said he had a meeting with the FBI on Thursday, and one of the agents told him, "We do not want the media to divide us." 13 News has reached out to the FBI for a response to the allegations made in the national stories. Nanos did tell 13 News that there are still no signs on Nancy Guthrie, but they had, quote, good leads. Also on Thursday, the FBI released more information about the suspect in her disappearance and increased the reward to $100,000. And I know Fox News was reporting that the backpack was bought from Walmart. But I have not heard that confirmed by law enforcement. Yeah, and they were just like, why is the pool people there? Is there evidence in the pool? No, there's not. The one thing I will say, the one thing that I found really, what's the word? Not awkward, like, so Amazon is still delivering packages to Nancy Guthrie's home. And I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like the family should have put a hold on any mail delivery, because I think it's, I don't know. What is the word? There's a word. It's weird. It's weird. And then there was that when Brian Etten had gone up to the porch to show, the blood, there was an Amazon package leaning against the back wall. And it just makes you think, like, I don't know, like, it's sad too, because that either she ordered something that just arrived, or there's some sick person ordering things being delivered to her home. I don't know. There's a lot going on. But I still do hope that they find her safe. They find her soon. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I feel like she didn't survive that first altercation, based on what we know now. But with that being said, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, morning, night, wherever you may be. I am planning on going live tomorrow on this channel, not my second channel. I may dual stream just to kind of get hours over there. But with that being said, if you haven't hit the like, please do so on your way out. If you are watching this on the replay, #replay. And until next time, y'all, I will see you on the flip side.
You have one shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high progress. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out, and my high progress. I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. So on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I'm so gone, faded off a 30 rack. She's so on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I rap with a passion, yeah, I got it in me. I've been waiting quite a long time for y'all to hear me. It's about damn time you put some stock into me. You're either sponsoring me or fucking bothering me. And the fact is, we just practice on this madness. That is why our status is like a canvas. Chances our advancement is enhancing, and this new expansion comes on, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. Am I high, perhaps? I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. Am I high, perhaps? I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse.